There's just no sugarcoating the fact that the market right now in crypto is pretty rough. We've had all of these supposedly positive events that were supposed to be these catalyzing factors. For example, the strategic Bitcoin reserve that just fell flat, and everybody's kind of scratching their heads. Nobody's 100% sure as to why we're seeing what you're seeing. But if you're wondering where to focus in all kinds of situations like this, the answer is actually pretty simple. You have to stick to the top 50. Whether that's crypto or otherwise, the so-called blue chips are really where you want to be focusing right now in times like these. And in this case, that's because liquidity is drying up, and smaller projects, as a result of that, are getting hit the hardest. And part of this mindset is recognizing that the downturn is temporary. If we follow the smart money, as we often suggest that everybody should be doing, the fact is that smart investors know that the downturn is temporary. And these are the ones that harness that kind of contrarian energy, right? When times are bad, they position themselves in strong projects with real fundamentals that may be down through no fault of their own just because the rest of the market is. And when the market recovers eventually, which it will, these are the coins, these are the projects, these top 50, these strong ones that will bounce back the fastest. And so in this video, we're looking at 4 must-have foundational altcoins that really ought to represent the pillars of your portfolio for Q2 2025. Welcome to the channel. My name is Maddie and this is Altcoin Buzz. All the best of luck. If you choose to invest, I wish you very, very, very well. But I'm not a financial or investment advisor. Remember that, and also keep in mind that this video is not official financial or investment advice. Okay, first and foremost, let's all remind ourselves here something that I think every one of us knows already. Crypto moves in cycles, in very defined and predictable patterns. We've got bull runs, we've got corrections, we've got brutal bear markets, of course. But across all of that, strong projects are always the ones that survive. And when the market bounces back, these stronger projects also come back stronger. Bitcoin, of course, is the perennial example. It's the best example that I can provide here. It's been through now 4 major bear markets, each time dropping hard, but it returns to new all-time highs again and again and again. And think of all the hundreds and probably the thousands of times that the media has come out and has declared that Bitcoin is now dead officially. Every one of those instances was false. The fact is that BTC is always able to make these kinds of comebacks because its fundamentals never change. And so the idea here is that we want to apply this same logic to the best projects in the top 50 altcoins. These are coins that probably themselves have been through a couple of cycles, so bull markets and bear markets. That means they've been tested already. They're pragmatic in that they have real use cases, they have strong ecosystems, communities, and as a result of that, proven staying power. And the reality is, if you liked Bitcoin at $105,000, then nothing's changed as far as BTC. You ought to love it at 80 or 85,000 because nothing about Bitcoin's fundamentals has changed. Really just the price, just the public sentiment. And in this case, this is the same for these top tier altcoins that we're talking about. Right now, the market is giving you a chance to stack quality projects at a discount. And when sentiment shifts and liquidity ultimately returns, these are the coins that are most likely going to be leading the charge. So we'll kick off here with an important sector and an important project in the form of ONDO Finance. ONDO, O-N-D-O, is at the forefront of real-world assets, RWA tokenization. And this is a technology effectively that is able to bridge very effectively traditional finance with blockchain. ONDO is currently ranked number 43 by market cap here, and ONDO stands out for its strong, number 1, institutional backing, number 2, real demand, verifiably and objectively speaking, and innovative developments, things like ONDO Chain. And then, of course, we also have very strong examples of institutional backing. So BlackRock and Pantera Capital are both connected to ONDO. That in itself, of course, says a lot about the project. And if you've been studying the market, then you've probably also seen and you know that RWA is very much the future. ONDO, yes, is in the RWA space. It is not just another RWA project. It's one of the leaders in that space. And then we should also note that there's been an observable and pretty massive surge in tokenized US treasuries. The total value of tokenized US treasury bonds recently crossed $4 billion, and it was ONDO that was largely responsible for this growth, which was reflected in its TVL, total value locked. In fact, ONDO's TVL also crossed the $1 billion mark, and ONDO's large user base indicates to us that there's a strong case for market adoption here. And then in addition, there's ONDO's USDY stablecoin, which has seen pretty massive growth. It's expanded across multiple chains by this point. And just by default, this kind of growth that we've seen makes it a pretty substantial part of DeFi. But really our core reason for including ONDO on this list here is its role in the RWA space. ONDO is doing much more than just launching products right now, because instead it's very much building the infrastructure that all kinds of projects are going to be requiring for this financial revolution. Not to sound too hyperbolic, but that is kind of what we find ourselves in at the early stages of it, at least presently. They also recently announced plans for ONDO Chain. Now, ONDO Chain combines the best of public blockchains with the security and compliance, very importantly, of permissioned networks. And so ONDO Chain is designed specifically for institutional scale RWAs. That means they offer institutional grade security, which is built to meet the compliance and security needs of very large financial institutions. There's also permissioned validators, which ensure trust and stability in transactions. This is something that TradFi needs for trust reasons, right? There's strong institutional connectivity, thereby bridging traditional finance, TradFi, with blockchain. And there's scalable and secure data feeds as well, bringing reliable real-world financial data on-chain. And there's also omni-chain messaging and bridging, which makes RWAs easily transferable across blockchains. And so ONDO is not just creating tokenized assets, it's creating the foundation for institutions to confidently enter the space. And ONDO is aggressively expanding its reach through certain key partnerships. They recently announced, for example, a partnership with Stellar, and this is going to integrate yield-bearing assets into Stellar. Stellar, of course, being a leading payments network with $32 billion in payment volume and 425,000 stablecoin users. And this taps into the global south, where Stellar has been really driving financial inclusion. Wall Street 2.0 and tokenization of RWAs. This is where ONDO is setting the stage for really the future of finance by partnering with Trump's World Liberty Financial, or WLFI, in order to tokenize real-world assets on-chain. So really, despite the current slump that we've been seeing in the crypto market, ONDO remains one of the leading tokens to go into Q2 of 2025. Getting it now, even though it's up on the day, would represent a pretty good entry and a pretty massive discount versus where it's been. Next up, and at number 2 on our list, we're considering Bittensor TAO, TAO, which is actually one of the most exciting projects in crypto at the moment. And that's because Bittensor really is revolutionizing AI with a decentralized, permissionless, and incentivized marketplace. We're going to break that down, but it's pretty much like Bitcoin. And TAO, TAO, follows a halving model similarly, and this makes it scarce over time. And some of the more optimistic fans of this project really do suggest quite adamantly that TAO has the potential to be the next BTC. At least according to them, they say it's like buying Bitcoin at $400. Now, of course, take that with a grain of salt, but they're excited. They're enthusiastic because Bittensor is focusing specifically on AI, artificial intelligence, and one of its core aims is to ensure open access and fair incentives for AI contributors. Bittensor facilitates open collaboration without any central control. And at the core of Bittensor are its 64 AI-powered subnets. Each one is designed for specific tasks, so things like machine learning, deepfake detection, and high-speed AI inference. These subnets allow AI models to interact, to share knowledge, and to compete for rewards. So this is a system that creates an evolving and, even more importantly, self-improving AI ecosystem. Some of the subnets include, for example, Graphite, which solves complex logistical problems. Shoots, this is powering AI compute infrastructure. and also BitMind, which detects deepfakes in media, something that's going to become increasingly important in my opinion as the years go by. And then of course, the argument is that as demand for subnets grows, so too does the demand for TAO, T-A-O. Dynamic TAO, or DTAO, is the core part of the Bittensor ecosystem. This enhances subnet governance by decentralizing valuation and control. And it introduces alpha tokens for each subnet powered by an AMM model. Really, the whole idea here is to create a liquid AI economy where users can interact with subnets, just like DeFi users do with, for example, Uniswap. And so DTAO brings a lot more decentralization to the AI space. TAO, therefore, has long-term potential. It's already recording massive institutional interest. We have Barry Silbert's DCG, which has invested over $100 million into TAO. Yuma AI and Helix Analytics are also betting big on the ecosystem. And as AI continues to grow, Bittensor really could be the go-to decentralized AI solution. Like I said, its most fervent fans certainly make the argument they see it as the Bitcoin of the AI space. Always take those kinds of statements with a grain of salt, but even if they're a little bit right, there does seem to be a lot of potential here. At number 3 here, we're talking about something that may be a little bit controversial, and we're discussing Solana, ticker SOL. And I say controversial because, let's face it, meme coins right now are a no-go area. I've never been fond of meme coins. I've sort of advised against them as far as speculation instruments, historically speaking. But here's the thing, Solana has value as a project, as an ecosystem beyond meme coins. We cannot just pigeonhole it into the meme coin category. Actually, Solana now accounts for 80% of all blockchain usage, believe it or not, which proves that it's not just another layer 1. It is the most dominant chain in the game, period. And really, that's for a lot of reasons. Solana's speed, its very low fees, its scalability make it the go-to blockchain for users and for developers alike. Now, while Ethereum remains the king of smart contracts, yes, Solana is the one that seems to be set up for mass adoption. If we look at the various categories, it is already leading in NFTs. So top collections, we're actually seeing them migrating from Ethereum. Also, it's leading in DeFi, growing TVL as more projects launch. And then again, meme coins, it ought to be mentioned. But as I said earlier, I don't think this is something that we want to dive into. Given the state of the market, a lot of people are blaming market sentiment on kind of the collapse of meme coins following the euphoria. So let's acknowledge that Solana is a leader in meme coins, but not talk about it anymore. And then as far as the SOL token and its price, things are slowly starting to pick up on that front. According to Ali charts, SOL has broken a key level, which does set the stage for a potential 50% price move. Look, whatever your opinion is of Solana, its ecosystem, the things it's been doing, this certainly is one of those leaders in the space, one of those foundational altcoins, if ever there has been one. And finally, last but not least for today, another perhaps actually controversial selection here. We're looking at Ethereum, which historically has always led the pack in a surge in the altcoin market. And we have to acknowledge that that's not been the case really so far. It's been very disappointing in terms of performance. Analysts do suggest, however, though, that it could be set for a run pretty soon. The argument, therefore, is that we just haven't really seen it initiate that phase yet, despite the disappointment. That's kind of what people are saying. There's still room for that run to occur. Look, whatever your opinion is of Ethereum, it's been disappointing to me. It's probably been disappointing to you. There are actually reasons here to bet on Ethereum for Q2 2025 and beyond. Aside from being the undisputed king of smart contracts, as I mentioned a moment ago, Ethereum does play a crucial and key role in DeFi. Don't forget that it is the next crypto by market cap after Bitcoin. It's a solid number 2. It has been for a long time. And ETH remains very strong in developer activity, also in ecosystem growth and in adoption as well. Lately, even whale activity has been rising with very large ETH holders that have just been accumulating more tokens. And then, of course, as we know, based on previous analyses, this is always a strong indicator of confidence in a project's long-term potential, in this case, Ethereum's long-term potential. And this kind of accumulation has very often historically preceded major upward price movements. Ethereum is down right now. It's suffering. It's disappointed a lot of people in terms of its price performance, but there you go. That's an argument in and of itself. It's down right now. If we look ahead to what could be possible, getting ETH now Could be a smart bargain as we enter Q2.